Hey you, yeah you, wait a minute, do you want to know how to create these cool CD covers? If you do, make sure to stay tuned. Alright, let's begin. So here we have the artboards that I have set up here. We have the 3 CD covers, but I wanted to show you the different components so you can have a better idea of what it took to get to this point, and I thought maybe it might be easier if I broke it down for you guys. I have the 3 different versions here. Now, for most of the part, everything is the same basically for the most part. The difference between all these versions, I would say, are very little differences. Most of the differences are accounted by the blend modes. So using different blend modes to create the different looks here, and honestly blend modes can make all the difference. I mean, honestly, these two are basically using the same components. I just switched around the rock and roll fingers around and put that in the middle here, and I played around the blend mode. And then on the third one here, I added a cool little blend shape that I had made, and I'll show you guys that, and then a couple of stars here, and then I just played around with the blend modes and used something different from the rest of these two. And that's basically the differences between these CD covers. But anyways, to break it down further, I essentially started off with a gradient. After that, I went in and I made this cool text effect, and I'll show you that. I don't want to get too into it. It might seem a little complicated, but it's actually pretty easy to make just using the transform tool and the wrap tool to create this effect. And then of course we have our text that we're going to lay on top of these items, but we don't have to even do that right away. We can do that even later on. And then this cool shape here, it's actually 2 triangles like that, but of course we can group them, but I just wanted to show you them separately. And essentially it's using the blend tool again with 2 lines here, and I made 1 line here and 1 line here, and then I just went to object and blend modes. I don't know if that makes any sense right now. If you've seen my cool Illustrator effects video, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'll link that below if you're curious about the blend modes, because I'll go a little bit more into detail in that video, but I'll also go over it in this video, but just not as in depth. And then last but not least is just grabbing your images. I got these free images from pexels.com. You can go on, actually I don't remember if it was Pexels or Unsplash, I'll double check for you guys, but if you go on Pexels or Unsplash, they have a nice variety of stock images that you can use, free stock images, and they have a good variety. If you're looking for something specific, you're very likely to find it on there. And that's about it to break it down. Now we can actually begin. So essentially what I did was here. I will go ahead and make a new artboard. I'll just click on this and I will go ahead and go into artboards here, or you can even go into Windows artboards. It's basically the same thing, and then click on plus. What I'll do is, just to separate things, I'll go into document setup, edit artboard, grab this artboard and just drag it down here so it's, you know, its own separate little thing. And there we have it. All right, now to begin. So all I did was essentially I started off with a rectangle. I mean, I experimented before creating this whole thing, but yeah. So create a rectangle, square. Actually, it's using the rectangle tool, but we're making a square. And then we can go ahead and click on the gradient tool right here. And then, oh, let's just turn off the stroke because we do not need that. And then we can go back into the gradient tool and click on the third one, which is the freeform gradient. As you guys may have known if you've been watching my videos, I love the freeform gradient. It is one of my favorites, and I just feel like using the freeform gradient actually is just way more, it adds so much more complexity than your regular gradients that just go, you know, that are very linear or circular or radial. I find this is just something more fun and something that you can add a lot more complexity and depth to, because you can put the gradients anywhere you like on, you know, on the page. So it's a little bit more chaotic, but a lot more fun. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Oh, I just realized, okay, also the one thing about the gradient tool is you want to make sure you put any fill. It doesn't really matter what fill. Just make sure there's a fill in there, and then the freeform gradient will work. There we go. And now we can go ahead and change the colors. Now we can use the same colors, or we can use the different colors right here. You can play around with it and choose. So the colors that I had used was that green. You can try other colors, but just to keep it consistent, I'm going to be using the same colors. Yeah, it's kind of like this neon-y reddish color. And then this kind of magenta. Oops, let's go back. Anyways, that's the basis of it. You know, I could literally, what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste this, so we don't waste too much time here. And then I'll just go ahead and make this bigger. So it's basically using these colors, that neon green, that reddish neon color, that magenta, and then just black in the center, as you can see. So that's basically the black in the center, and then we have our greens and our neon colors diagonally. And that is that in itself. If you haven't used a freeform tool and now you know about it, and you can go around and experiment with that. Now, the next thing that we will do is I will just put this aside. We are going to create this cool zone in. Zone in kind of cool, trippy, kind of retro effect. All I did was I went and I made a text box and I typed in zone in, and then I chose the typeface keep on trucking. I'll leave a link for you guys. I'm trying to remember where I found it, but you can search it up, or I'll leave a link for you guys. So if you are interested in using the same text typeface, you can use that. Okay, let's just, I don't know how big I want it. Let's make it 100. Okay, maybe 200. That looks about right. And then I think I will go ahead and add a stroke to it, and then I will turn off the fill. All right, now that we have the text centered, make sure you go to paragraph and center it. We can go ahead and click on effects and then go into Distort and Transform and click on transform, and then write in the amount of copies you want. So let's say 5. So including this one, it's going to be a total of 6. And then what we want to do is click on vertical under move. And then voila, there you have it. All those copies right below it. And then what you want to do is go ahead and make sure you choose the amount of spacing that you want. It just goes up to about 100, but we can actually go ahead and type in the amount we want. So I think I'll go maybe around 200, or maybe a little less. Let's try 150. Yeah, 150 looks just about right. You can click on OK, and then you have all your copies there. The next thing you want to do is go into, and this is very important if you want to get this kind of effect, that kind of cool zoning in type of effect, you want to make sure you follow this next step. You click on the text and then go into objects and then click on expand appearance. And once you click on that, you are good to go, and you can go into the effects panel and then click on wrap and then wave. Oh, and I guess I already had it into the settings. So if you actually, this is what it is before that. I guess I already had the settings in, but essentially it will all be 0, 0, 0. And then you can kind of move it around as you want and get this cool looking perspective, this very groovy looking perspective. But if you want to have that cool sinking in, zooming in type of effect, go on to the distortion on horizontal, make sure it's -55, and then on bend, make sure you go to the left hand side, and then you got this cool bend effect. Actually, let's go all the way to 100 and then make this 55. Sorry about that, guys. And yeah, if you want to try something else, you can try some different combinations if you want. but this is just to show you what I had started with, what I already had. So once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and click on OK. If you want, you can make it more bendy if you want to, but I think it works with -55. And then you can click on OK, and there you have it. Now, to duplicate it, all I did was just copy or even click on it and press on Alt or Option and then create another copy. And then I went to Object, Transform, and Reflect. Oops. Okay, so you know what? We're gonna have to create this into an outline so it doesn't look backwards. I don't know if you just noticed that. Make this an outline. Once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and click on Reflect. Oops. And then it should reflect. Wow, that is strange. This is literally what I did. I made a reflect. Or you know what? Actually, that's not what I did. So we'll literally just do the opposite of what we did. So you can go back into panels. Yeah, go back, and what we will do is actually go to 55. Sorry about that, guys. 55, and then go to 100. There you go. That's what I did. I didn't realize how many steps there were. I mean, I did this just a few days ago. And some of these effects are obviously new to me as well, clearly, because I'm forgetting some of it. Now what we can do is we can even stretch, expand as we want. And, you know, whoops. Now to do that, actually what you want to do is click on everything, click on the text, and then click on Create Outlines. You can even do it beforehand. And then we can expand it, play around with it. And it's fine if it looks stretched out, because that's kind of the purpose. It's supposed to look kind of distorted. And then you can kind of get that all the way at the edges. And that's how you create this cool distort effect. Yeah, it's pretty fun, pretty cool. Yeah, make sure that lines up. And you can move it up a little bit, and yeah, that's basically, there you have it. That's how you create that effect. Now, to move on to the next effect. Well, I mean, technically it's just a text. You can grab any text you want. I am using the text Molin Surplus. I will find this, guys. I will find this text for you and link it below if you are interested in using the same groovy text that I'm using. But you know, we can just skip that for now because I think we want to make all the cool fun parts. The text, just a simple text we can leave at the end. So now to create this effect, all I did, honestly, very, very simple. We can move these aside and we can just group this for now. Oops. There we go. Wow, it's not letting me move this. That is so strange. Okay, there we go. Okay, so to do that, now to make this effect right here, all I did was I just grabbed the pen tool and I made a line like that. Voila. And then I grabbed, I already have the green in. You can choose whatever one you want. I have the green already in there. And then I went and I made another line. Make sure that it's not touching, so we can just go back and kind of adjust it because we don't actually want it to actually connect. Now, once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and go into blend, and you can go into your options for how much blending you want and, you know, specify how much of the blend and the steps that you want. Also, I go more into this in my cool Adobe Illustrator effects video, so I'll link that below if you want to check that out. I go into more detail about that. So I'm on specified distance and then 8 pixels, just to show you what my settings are. And then you can go back to blend and click on make, and then you have this cool effect. And that specified distance basically is this distance between each object, each little thing here, each line. And there you have it. And then all you got to do is, again, make another duplicate or a copy of it. Whoops. I'm just going to Alt-Option-Drag, and there you go. And then flip it around. As easy and simple as that. We could even, like, you can also go back. So what you can do is go back into Windows, go into Properties, and whoops, click on Effects, yeah, and then click on Blend. Why can't I click on Blend? I don't know why. Okay, I guess we can just go back into the Blend panel here and go into the options. And you can make, let's say you want there to be more space. We can put in 10 even and see how that looks. That looks a little bit more spaced out. I actually think I like that better. So I'm going to go ahead and actually make that 10 instead. You can even make the stroke thicker if you like as well. Another really cool thing you can do that creates this really cool effect is, let's say you can change the stroke. So let's make this even a 1. And as you can see, this is a 1, and then I think this is a 2. And it creates this cool effect, this cool kind of like ombre gradient effect, if that makes sense. As you can see, the thicker the stroke on one side and the thinner on the other side, it really creates this really interesting kind of, almost like this nice shading gradient effect. So let's do that. So we'll make one side 1 and one side 4. And then I think we'll do that on this side as well. It just adds this really nice kind of dimension and depth. And there we have it. We can even flip it. What we could do is we can have this as 4, and you can even have both of it as 4, but I think I will keep one side as 4 and then one side as 1. And you have this cool effect. And there you have it. I'm actually going to make this a little bit more limey-ish green. I feel like I want it to be a little bit more poppin'. You can change it if you like as well. Wow, that is a crazy poppin'. That's a little too poppin'. Maybe we can add a little bit more yellow back into it. There we go. Okay. I think I like that. Cool. Now what we can go and do, so that's the next step, we can go ahead and group this. You can just press on G and it should group that. You can leave that aside. You can go back and like change things around if you want to. I think the green, oh my god, I'm so sorry about that, guys. Ignore that noise in the background. Okay. Now all we got to do is grab our images. Now we can go ahead on pexels.com. Go ahead on, Pexels, or there's Pexels. I don't know why Chicken Nuggets came up. Okay, there's pexels.com, or even Unsplash. And you can find your images. If you like these ones, I can link those below if you want to, but I dare you to go wild and try your own thing. And then once you have your images, all you got to do is put everything together. So let's grab our images. So I'm just going to grab this image here and scale it up. And then I'll grab this one. Actually, let me just make a copy of this instead. And sorry about that, guys. The noise in the background. There we have it. Yeah, so then what we could do, we can also trim, go on the trim view to see it without that, but we'll make a cool little clipping mask, but we'll do that later. Now, what I shall do is I will grab this and place it right on top. And even just like that, it looks pretty cool. Now, I don't think I did any blending mode on even just the gradient itself. I think I did the gradients actually on top here. Oops. Even that looks cool by itself. So we can bring that to the front to go into the transparency and then play around. Look, like you can get some really cool effects. I mean, even just this in itself is pretty cool. So I believe I had this on a lighten mode. That is the first one, which is a lightning mode. Whoops. This one right here. It's a lot of playing around. I know it looks a little crazy, but it is honestly super fun. Trying out these and experimenting with all the different blend modes. We can just go to trim view so it looks a little cleaner. And even that, I feel like that's pretty cool by itself. Yeah. Let me just take this, make this a little bigger. And there you have it. You get that cool effect there. We can even make that rock and roll a little bit bigger. So we can take that and make this a bit bigger. The rock and roll sign. I don't know why I'm like, I don't know, I'm just going in a bit of a British accent or some kind of accent. Sometimes I break out in accents. Okay, so there we have it. Now, I mean, you can play around with the adjustment. You know, I think I have the head a little bit bigger here, but I'm sure you get the gist of it. You know what, let's make it a little bit bigger. Because I feel like it. There we go. There we go. And yeah, that's essentially, you're basically just putting that all together. It's pretty cool. Let's go back and grab the other items. We can grab this, lay that there, and it kind of just makes this for this cool groovy effect. You can even play around with the strokes, like go wild, guys. And then what we can do is we can grab, we can grab these, press G, it should group together. Oh. Oops, hold on. Let's actually adjust this, make sure it is where we want it to be. Okay. Object group. Don't know why the group wasn't popping up there. Okay. Then you can lay this on top. I know it looks a bit like a hot mess, but trust me, once we put that clipping mask in, it's gonna look good. It's gonna look fun. And there we have it. So it's coming together. We can already like to throw in the clipping mask. You know. Voila. I think I'll even, let's go ahead and grab our girl and make the image a little bit bigger. And there we go. Now you can even you can even lower the opacity on some of the items if you want to, if it's like, oh, this is a little too much. You can grab whatever you want to and lower the opacity, for example. But I actually like it like this. I think it's pretty cool. It almost looks like there's like lasers coming out of her eyes. And then we can go ahead and type in zone in. Zone in. And this is in Moulin. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Moulin, yeah. And we can make that 300. And there we have it. And I know it's in black right now, but we can make that black. I mean, we can make that white. My Illustrator is going a little crazy. I don't know if you see these weird boxes that are just popping up. They're not supposed to be there. We can make this white. And then we can add a drop shadow, go to effects, and then stylize and drop shadow. And we can put it at around 25%. And then make that blur. Actually, yeah, let's make it 20%. And there you have it. That's the first one. And I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I just kind of left that cool text effect. I thought it was kind of fun. But you don't have to. I mean, if you want, you can even go ahead, like I said, and click on the text and kind of play around with the opacity. Maybe like 42. Just a little more subtle. I like it either or. And yeah, there we have it. Wow, my computer is going berserk. Now for the second CD cover, it's essentially basically the same thing as the first thing, but just a few things that are rearranged. So you can just make another copy of this. Once you do, you can go ahead and double click on it. And if you made a clipping mask like me, you want to make sure you go in to the first. Okay, like ignore my crazy looking layers. I hope your layers are cleaner than mine. I swear I'm not always this messy, but you know, sometimes I am. So, okay, so click on that first image there. So all we're going to do is just change the blending. So before it was lightened, all we're going to do is go and click on darken. That's one of the biggest steps basically. And then just moving that side over. I mean, you can try some other ones. There's so many cool ones we can play with, but to create this effect, all you got to do is go in the blending mode, click on darken, and there you have it. And it looks pretty cool and kind of trippy and groovy, but a little bit more edgy, and I like the feel of it. It's a little bit dark and groovy. And then we're going to move this hand, go into your layers, move that side right there, wherever you like. You can make it bigger if you want to. So you really get that rock and roll feel, you know. I mean, you don't have to use this image. You can use whatever image you want. You can use flowers, you can use rocks, you can use someone else's face too if you want to. But you really get this cool gold, that the shimmer of that gold comes through with this blending mode. So yeah, that's basically that for the second one. And now for the third one, all we gotta do is, again, make another copy. We can do that of the first one. Oops, just go ahead and grab it. My computer is slowly kind of dying a little bit. Sorry guys. Yeah, so we'll make a copy of this. There you go. Don't mind my computer that is slowly making its way to take a nap. But hopefully before this tutorial. Anyway, so now we're in this. We're going to go into this group. Go into the clipping mask. There's a million gajillion things here. And again, we're going to go into that first image. And then all we're going to do is, to get this cool effect, is we're going to go back into the blending mode. And then we are going to go into overlay. Look at that. Now that gradient really pulls through, I find, with this one. I feel like with the light in, it kind of like makes the gradient a little bit more demure, a little bit more not in your face. But with that overlay there, oh my gosh, it really makes it pop. The colors are really popping here. And I like that. And all I did right after that is I just went and see how we made those cool little green stripes. All I did was we can make another layer for this one. Definitely I would suggest separating everything, like, you know, don't be a messy, crazy messy freak like me. We can make another layer for this. We can go ahead and go into the pen tool, grab your pen tool, and make a line. And then we can make it that cool purpley pinky color. And we can make the stroke, maybe, let's say, yeah, a 5 or 6, something like that. We make another copy of that. We flip it over. And then put it kind of right on the side like that. Oops. Just make sure they kind of meet without actually connecting, if you know what I mean. And then you just select both of those. And then we go back and we click on blend again. Voila. Okay, actually not like that. I don't know why that happened. Let's go back. We'll go back into the blend options. I believe then it was steps. Okay, there we go. Now that should be good. Blend, yeah, blend steps. So just make sure you go back into your options, and instead of specified distance, you go to specified steps. Now I have 8 here. You can make it 10, 12, a million. And what I will do is actually, again, play around with the thickness. I'm going to make this one a 1. And then that one is 6. And then it just makes for a nice effect, I think. And basically that is that. I think I'm going to add a couple of more. Maybe what I'll do is I'll go back into the blend mode. Oopsies. Wow, okay. Hard time selecting this. I will go ahead and grab, not that, whoops. Literally grabbing everything. And we can actually, I think I'll make it smaller. Yeah, I think we'll do it at a 3, and then I'll go back into the blend modes. Now I'm kind of experimenting a little bit myself here, as you can tell. And I'll actually make it, I think 15. I think that would look cooler. Yeah, there we go. And you can even play with the positioning if you kind of literally just move it around. Double clicking even on the line here, you'll get a different effect, which is also pretty cool. So yeah, sometimes that blend mode can be kind of crazy, but you know what? I think it looks good as it was. But just to show you what you could do. And then another thing that I will do is, you know what? I just realized. Let me just go into the type and kind of fix that type there, because I feel like it is looking kind of crazy. Whoa, that looks insane. That looks really cool. Okay, I just wanted to go into the text. And I just want to separate it a little bit. I just realized that looks like so tight, a little too tight there. Okay, there we go. I should do that to the other ones, but anyways, I feel like this tutorial has been long enough. Now, what I'm going to do is on this same layer, or maybe not, I'll make another layer, and all I did was I went in and I made these cool little stars. I went with the paintbrush. Oops, that was not supposed to happen. Don't know why it selected that. That was not supposed to be that. We'll lock that up. Go and click on the paintbrush and to make sure it's white. And then all I did was, oops, make sure it's on the right layer. Yeah. And made some cute little dots. Had it look like stars. Oops. And what I might do is actually lower the opacity for that green so the stars kind of pop through a little bit more. And it gives it that fun, unnecessary, but I just think it's kind of cool. It gives us that kind of cool, funky starlight effect. And yeah, there you have it. And then I'm going to go ahead and change, actually, yeah, make the opacity a little bit lighter on here, just so it pops through a little bit more. I just realized I had everything locked. And all I'll do is I'll just grab these two and just lower the opacity a little bit. Let's make it, you know, like a 77. You can even darken it if you want, although that kind of takes away the effect. Or try different blend effects. Wow, my computer is really going. So I think I'm going to be ending this tutorial very soon because, yeah, my computer is tired and she wants to rest now. Okay, so I think it's cool. Yeah, we'll make that like about a 60. So it still pops, but it's not as crazy. And there you have it. Those are the CD covers, the 3 variations. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, comment below. I know maybe this was quite a bit, but I feel like this is such a cool, fun tutorial to try out, to experiment, to come up with your own versions. If you try this tutorial out, make sure to tag me at the Designer Flow on my IG. I'd love to check out what you guys come up with. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to subscribe. Have a great day.